Hi, in this episode we discussed the recent anti-migrant riots in the UK and our identity as migrants. I should warn listeners about the repeated use of a racially sensitive term throughout the show. I'm aware of the historical context of the word, its roots in segregation and inequality, and the evolution of language in Western cultures. However, in Zimbabwe and South Africa, this term is commonly used and accepted as a way to describe mixed-race people. We will explore this one day. Hello everyone, welcome to 20 Years a Migrant. I am Lawrence.
And I'm Nyari Claire.
And today we have a guest.
Yeah. I've known this young lady for, for 40 years.
Oh my God. You're giving away our age, Nyari. You're giving away our age.
That is a long time.
It's a long time, yeah. I went to school with Collette. So Collette, introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody.
Where do you live and all that kind of stuff?
I honestly feel like I am back in Lobengula Street, at the end of Lobengula Street, at Convent Junior School, sitting on our wooden benches that used to pinch us. And yes, Nyari and I were in school together from, I think about, grade 3?
Yeah, grade 3.
Yeah, at the convent. And I tell you what, from grade 3 until now, nothing has really changed. We still vibe, we still talk, we still can, I can talk a lot, yeah. Laurie, it's my first time to meet you. And when Yarazai calls me, we can be on the phone for 2 hours. And at school, we used to be exactly like that. It was just... Yeah, it's always been
talkative.
You know when you said this, when you said you're still the same, right? What someone said earlier is like when you grow older, the voice inside stays the same.
Yeah.
Like people will say, "Oh, your voice is like this," but
so
the voice
true.
in my
the voice in your head.
That
the same.
Is so true. That is so true.
Yeah, whatever it was, 15, 20, whatever now, I think it's still the same, right?
It's still the same.
It's still the same.
Yeah.
You know?
So where do you live now? So you're in Ireland, yeah?
Yeah, I live in Southern Ireland. So I'm in a little town called Letterkenny. So we're on the border of Northern Ireland, which is, we're closer to, Belfast is about 2 hours away. So we're closer to a town called Derry.
Derry, yeah.
Yeah, but the UK call it Londonderry, but the Irish Republic of Ireland, they don't like that. They call it County Derry. So yeah, that's where I am.
You know what? All I know, because I thought there were two different places, Londonderry and Derry. I thought there were two different places.
No,
so it's the same place.
It's the same.
Derry in Ireland is called County Derry.
County Derry.
But in the UK, it's called Londonderry.
Londonderry.
All right. So how long ago did you leave Zimbabwe then?
To be honest, Laurie, UK, my granddad is Irish.
All right.
So we were always were aligned to Ireland and the UK. So to live, I've been living in Ireland, it's now 10 years. But I lived in the UK before, like for about 5-6 years after I finished school. So we've always been up and down. Our family, we have so many family overseas.
Well, some of us were stuck in Chitungwiza.
Don't say it like that.
Coming here was, but no, it's not stuck.
Because the way we wish we were in Chitungwiza right now.
I know. That's what I wanted to say.
Especially with the riots.
So, because I think it's right. Because, I think my first time on a plane was my flight to the UK.
No way.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Who was going to pay for me to go in? I never thought I would be in the UK or anywhere else. Yeah. It never crossed my... We all just dreamt. You know, like when you were kids.
Yeah.
You just
dream.
Then,
Laurie, how was it when you stepped off the plane, like the cold especially? Was it like a huge culture shock for you?
I came in November, so tell me about it.
Shame.
So cold.
Oh man.
And it was always, it felt like it was always dark because you come out of the airport, it was dark, it was around 1 p.m, it was dull and grey, and then 4:30, it's dark. I'm like, already?
And you know what? When you fresh off the ship, we call it fresh off the ship, you don't understand that us as African people, we need sunshine, for the melanin in our skin. It depresses you so much. But because you're fresh off the ship, you don't know about those lights and to take that vitamin D and all of that. It really makes a difference if you do that.
It does, because like I said, because I've got my injury, right? Because last Friday, isn't it? I spent most of the day outside in the sun.
Nice.
So far I feel better. Because I feel like because I was having sunlight.
Because your carer is like telling you, go out on the sunlight, go get some vitamin D.
My wife, not my carer.
Apparently, I'm just a carer, but once you heal,
I was a client for a while. I've been a client.
Good on you, Larry.
Do you need anything?
Are you
Let
in
me
good
get you
hands,
some ice
Donnie?
cream.
Good hands. Well, if you're anything like my husband, then you've got your work planned out for you. Whoa. Raymond has got I mustn't talk loud. He's got a back problem. Yeah, every now and again it sort of like goes out of place. And I'm not saying it's not so. No, I'm not saying. But the man is like he's dying.
Anyway, so what we were talking about this
evening.
Oh, in this show, in this episode, let me say that, right? I can't say evening because people are listening at different times, isn't it? It's kind of sort of difficult to frame, but how we are living life here. Is it more about identity? Can you talk about our identity as such? Is it?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. It is about identity because I'm even finding like with what's going on with you guys over there with these riots, is that not also identity or racism? Or what is that? What do you guys take on that? What's that?
Terrorism. I would call it terrorism.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
thought. Because terrorism, right, is sort of pursuing a political goal through terror as such, right? So these guys, because what happens is when Caucasian people cause violence, okay, it is their lone wolves, it is violence. But when other people do it, it is terrorism. Framed so differently. Okay, people who look like me, people who look like when they do something, and there's always a big, because right now, because all this it started because of the. I can say it was triggered, or it was a good excuse about that boy who stabbed some kids in that town,
Southport.
Yeah.
Right. So a rumor went on social media to say the person is a recently arrived illegal migrant. He is not. He was born here. Right?
Oh,
he is not Muslim. Yeah, he's not Muslim, as people are saying. It's all those. Do you know what I mean? Right. But even if he's
17.
He's 17. Right. Yeah, he was born here. He's 17. Right. So I think they had to give out his name so that it turns out to be a boy from Rwanda, heritage, Rwandan heritage, right?
Oh, okay.
So, but they were saying he's a Muslim. He's not a Muslim. He's not all of that. But it became an excuse because when you look at it, a few months ago, there's a boy who was killed by stabbed by was killed with a sword by this white guy. He was here in UK. I've got details.
I remember it, but I can't remember the details.
No one is saying he's rioting to protect that kid, because that kid was a black boy. He was killed by this white guy.
Oh,
with this.
The narrative is very different. Huh?
It is very different.
It is very different, and the worst thing is that the newspapers are doing it because they put a different narrative on the newspaper. That's what people will see. Not many people are on social media and stuff like that. So.
No, for me, how I say it is, all these right-wing politicians, extreme right-wing politicians, they are all over the media. They're given TV shows and TV shows presenting and things like that. So it gives them influence and power, right? Of which those guys, they're not like great-minded people. It's what they symbolize. You know what I mean? Like they symbolize something, right? And what tends to happen now, all these other people who are now all these other terrorists, I'm calling them terrorists myself, I don't know about you, all these terrorists, these white domestic terrorists, right? What they do is all this violence, in their mind, they think they are doing something about their cause, about whatever they care about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
Which is kind of crazy, because when you look at it, right, you would think the country is crumbling, but it's the way the news is spread. Because right now I'm getting annoyed with people who are sharing all the clips of violence. I know there's violence. I don't have to see the clips.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So if I see another clip and another clip and another clip and another clip.
It's like it's there all the time.
It's there all the time, right? And then I get afraid.
Yeah,
so the terrorists start winning. This is what terrorism does. Because terrorism, they don't have to succeed in their goals. Remember when that time when we had so much terrorism attacks in London, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
When they were like, there was an attempt, someone was found with a bomb on the tube or something like that. People just got scared. It didn't succeed. They failed.
Yeah.
The people who did the bomb, I think 2 weeks later, they failed to do the bombing. But what they did is it scared a lot of people. So this is what I'm seeing now, the way the news is being spread. I'm not saying it shouldn't be spread, but what it is not. It's kind of unhelpful.
No, but you see what it is? It's also the mind, yeah? Everything starts in your head. So if you can get into people's head and spread that narrative, you've won. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
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 Because most of these people, they want to fight for something. They feel like they want to fight for something.
Yeah.
And they just use terror, like you're saying.
Yeah, and then there's some opportunists anyway. They're like, riot hour, they want to fight, or they're looting.
So we just get involved. Yeah.
Like, why are you looting Greg's? Do you know what I mean? I want to protect our kids. I'm going to loot Greg's.
Oh.
Get all the pies.
What a mess, though, when you think about it.
Yeah, it's a mess. Even there are some people who are looting the shoes on, like this very, can you say discount or cheap?
Yeah,
like
the very cheap shoes.
It's a very cheap shop that sells cheap shoes. Why are you looting the shop? Do you know?
And even to be burning cars and stuff, what does that get you? You're not achieving
I think
anything.
the worst one for me is when they I don't know how far they've succeeded, but there are 2 hotels where the immigration asylum seekers are housed, and they've set fire to them.
No way.
Yeah.
Holiday Inn Express, and there's another one as well.
Just attacking.
But those are the ones I saw. I don't know how many others.
Just attacking random non-black people.
On
the street.
On the street. You just imagine walking, and then you see a group of boys, and then you just get slapped, and they walk off.
And you know what? It's usually a gang. A gang. They don't come at one on one. They will pounce. They just take their chance. This is the time for me. I've seen a few clips of black people. I've stopped watching the clips now because I'm thinking, what's the point of me watching this stuff?
Yeah.
So then it's quite dangerous then to be black on the street.
Yeah. And
it's always been dangerous.
You've got to be careful.
And you know what?
Yeah, you're right. It is.
And you know what? Right? There is. I was looking. So I wrote it down. I didn't write it down. I screenshot it. Australia, Nigeria, and Malaysia, their governments, they put travel warnings. You know how they warn you about going to the
UK? Say if you're going to the UK.
Yeah, said stay safe in the UK.
So it's Australia, Nigeria, and
Malaysia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So like they did with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Careful of these countries.
There were some other riots in 2021. A lot more countries in Europe, they gave travel warnings to their citizens, like be careful, whatever. And I even saw like some GPs, some doctors are being advised to work in groups, because doctors are usually mostly Asians, isn't it?
Mostly brown.
Don't laugh. Why are you
Let's be
laughing?
true.
You're the one that's laughing.
Right? So now, they're being beaten up.
A shame.
So now they're like, okay, go to work in groups. Imagine that.
That's crazy.
Do you know what also does my head?
We've been told as well at work that like if you're walking in a buddy system, like if there's 2 of you going to work or something, walk in 2s. Don't go on your own.
in a blink of an eye, can you see how things can just change?
Mm.
How life can just day to day can just change.
Just like that. I think they just took advantage. But the thing is, what tends to happen, right? People get excited and get carried away. They think they're doing something, it's going to go on. Okay. Now, you know what's been happening? Because people are being identified on social media because they're streaming, they're doing all this stuff when they're doing the violence. I saw one earlier. There's a guy. I've got the thing here, right? Someone took his tweets and whatever, right? Because he wrote like, "Oh yeah, let's go in there and start stabbing."
Man.
So he works for this company, Tata Steel. So people are now taking the company. Look at your guy. This guy works there, right?
Good.
People are they are now apologizing. Some people are getting fired.
But also to say stuff like that's very irresponsible. How do you say that?
It's very irresponsible. On Twitter.
Stop it, man.
No, because what people don't realize is you can be done for prosecuted for violence because of what you wrote on Twitter. Not you don't have to be there bedding cars to be prosecuted for it.
But wasn't that before when it was Twitter? Because obviously when it's become X with Elon Musk, it's like anything goes.
No, it doesn't matter. They just know who did you post this? Yes, there's a video of a guy who was being arrested by police. So he was filming it, right? He was filming his arrest. They were saying, "Oh, you posted this on Facebook." He was being arrested. He was like, "Oh, so it's a Facebook." He was bragging about it, but he's being arrested. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
now he's gonna face the consequences by himself.
Do you know what this is reminding me of? One day I was with my friend. She's a white girl in Dubai. And we were driving along, and no disrespect to the Dubai police, but women driving that time, it just was frowned upon. I don't think even Arab women were allowed to have licenses at that time. And so I automatically, when we saw the police and they wanted to stop us, I started thinking, you're a woman, there's two of us. That was my train of thought. So I said, these cops are going to stop us. What are you going to say? She said, "Oh, no, don't worry. I'm white. So it will be all right." In my head, I just thought, I wasn't thinking about your skin color. I was thinking about...
about the client.
Oh, my gosh. It must be very nice to have that white privilege.
It must be very nice.
This is why there's loads of them in Dubai.
Don't worry, I'm white.
Don't worry. Imagine.
And he didn't bother us.
You know what? I know. I used to work with someone, Australian lady who was a journalist, right? She said she worked for a magazine in Dubai. She was based in London, and she said that the hierarchy in Dubai is the Emirati. The
one time
they are the ones at the top.
Yes.
You know who's below them? White British
men.
I'm just talking about Emirati, white British, and then white other, Australia, Germany, or whatever. White. There's a hierarchy of who.
So then there's no black there.
Black is
black is the lowest.
Black is
black and Pakistani.
Black is it's there with the Asians, with the Indians and the Bangladeshi and all of that. This is where
crazy.
We are.
And it's
crazy.
It's a first world country, it's so advanced and just so. But that is just so backward, that way of thinking. But I guess it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes me think, like what you were talking about, identity and stuff. Like, we are in this place.
Who are we?
Because it's like, we're not accepted.
Well,
but then,
do you remember when I first applied for a job? Remember we were having to choose like a black African, black Caribbean, or something like that. It was so strange to do when you had to do that.
Oh yeah, because you know what? I think even the first time I came across that on an application or some type of, because in Zim you don't have a box.
No, you do.
I've never seen that.
I have a box that I took in Zimbabwe. Do you know that in Zimbabwe
what's your box in Zim?
Have it's on our IDs. All colored people, well, don't say colored, mixed race, get it right? Mixed race people have a 00 on their ID. And if you look up 00,
Is
it's
it?
actually alien, yeah? There is no classification. Yeah, it is. And even when I came to the UK,
Yeah.
there was black, white, and other. When I ticked black, she said to me, no, you need to tick other. And I was
Other.
like, yeah, but I'm from Africa, I'm black, my granny's black, I'm black. She was like, no, you need to
No.
tick other because you have mixed blood in you. So it's not even to say they don't even have a race. You
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
So it's alien almost.
Yeah.
You know what? It reminds me because I think because I'm from Malawian heritage, and my mom is considered an alien in Zimbabwe.
Oh, really?
Your mom
Is she
and
also
dad.
an alien?
Yeah.
00.
Yeah, I
Both-
think
both-
my-
both your mom and
both-
dad.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess my dad as well.
Yeah.
So I should check my ID, what it says.
I'm
but
actually, we're going to check it
I'm
after
gonna
this.
check
Is
now.
a,
I know the ID number.
Yeah,
I've never
and like,
seen the 00.
yes, and even going back into history, the only reason my grandfather was able to like claim my grandmother was because she was of royalty. So he was allowed
Okay.
to marry her. But even his will, he couldn't will his will to her because she was a black woman. He had to will it to his brother, and his brother had to like look after the children. But the only reason we were able to come over here was because he put his name on her birth certificate. Other coloreds don't have that. They only have the black
wow.
woman.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Well, I
also-
think it's-
Really?
yeah.
So if so your parents didn't have a father in inverted commas.
No, my mom.
No. As in, sorry. Sorry.
My
your mom.
mom was allowed to have her white father. Or no,
But
her white
otherwise-
grandfather. Because her mother was of royalty. They were like part of Shaka Zulu's clan.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's
okay,
the
so they're
only
like,
reason,
okay.
because she was royalty. And obviously, I mean, he came in and he gained land and he gained minerals and all of that. So
Yeah.
he put his name down. So that's the
Yeah.
only reason we can claim ancestry. But you find a lot of other colored people, you weren't allowed to marry a black woman.
Because
If
you
you
know
had-
what, because my nephew, they went to Zimbabwe last month.
Yes.
Right, and he came back.
He's never been. He was
he's
born
never
here.
been. It was his first time.
Okay.
Right?
His
first time,
1999.
yeah.
So he
He's
came
18
back,
now, yeah?
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, he came back and said the white people in Zimbabwe, they look miserable. That's what he said, right? And how I look at it, I think maybe they are the ones who couldn't leave. They couldn't find a way to get out, and then you are just there. I don't know. Am I wrong?
You know what, Laurie, you've got a point. You know what happened one day? I think it was about, we were in like grade 1 or grade 2. And I got invited to a party. I can't remember who it was, one of the white girls we were in school with. And I got the shock of my life because of the type of lifestyle that she was. All those whites, well, not all, majority of them were ex-British. So they came over here through the war or whatever. And
Yeah.
they actually, this house was in Burnside. But it was very colonial. And you know what got me was the, colonial houses, they have a veranda around them.
Oh, yeah.
They have
Oh,
those
yeah.
Wow, her house, they had a swimming pool, they had a chef, they had waiters dressed in white, they had those round, those verandas around. It was such an oasis, the lives that they led compared to where they came from. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
lived good lives in Africa, those people. That's why
Yeah,
these
yeah.
ones are miserable. They never lived those lives.
Also, maybe they see photos like, oh, life was like this before.
Life was like this.
No, and we're not
They've had
even-
so much. They've had so much taken away from them as
Ye-
well because
you know what?
because they still. It's only been 20 years or so, So they still
Exactly.
have. So they're still living that whatever was taken away. They still have that.
And you know that they're my cousins, I can say, but they're not really. You know how it is in Africa when you grow up together. It's
Yeah,
like your
everyone is a
aunt,
cousin.
but there's really no
Yeah,
no
yeah.
blood. When we moved, now it's like the Jeffersons when you're moving on up, yeah? When we moved to BG is a suburb in Bulawayo. It's called Barham Green. It's where
You
the
moved to where,
colours
sorry?
to BG, Barham Green.
Oh, yeah.
It's where the colours, the first colours.
Barham Green is like the Arcadia of Harare.
Yes.
Kid of Blawayo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. The Arcadia of Blow.
Yeah, but there were other places like Rangemore.
Yeah,
and
there was
Trinance, but they were
yeah.
far out. Yeah,
But Barham Green was the main one.
it was like
Even the way you said it, you had to say it with a colored accent.
Yes,
Barham Green.
BG.
Yeah, Barham Green. You couldn't just say Barham Green.
If your mother was black, they checked your birth certificate. You weren't allowed to live in BG. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it was rough. And Matabeleland in particular, I don't know, maybe because like the UK white settlers came in like from South Africa, so that was like the nearest port. There were a lot of British, like coloreds, like a colored ancestry. But then saying that, they have the colored ancestry, the British ancestry, but then the fathers were never ever put on the birth certificates because it was with a black woman, and 9 out of 10 times they were married in the UK. So they had these colored children, and then went back to their wives, and their lives in the UK, and just carried on.
You know what I thought about is so the white people back then, they were doing what the Nigerians are doing. I'm sorry, Nigerians. I'm sorry.
But you know what? I will give Nigerians. I have never seen such savvy, such clever, such hustlers in my life. Those people are hustlers. You got to give them that. They know how to make a plan.
And they have the gift of the gab.
Oh my goodness. And very intelligent, eh? You can't just do that if you're not clever.
They come up with the funniest quirks and words, and you're like, how do you even think of this?
And even when you're speaking to them, their mannerisms, even the way they dress, those pointy shoes, they are just so dynamic. They're so interesting. I love them.
Collette.
I love them.
The pointy shoes.
Yes, and they're shiny. 9 out of 10 times they have to be shiny.
With that Ralph Lauren.
Yes, loud.
T-shirts.
Loud.
Yeah, just to be big and bold.
Hey, my sister.
Okay, so just going back to the thing about identity. So, some time ago, I went to a pub. I was in a pub somewhere in Hampshire, in Farnborough, right? Because I'm comfortable going to the pub by myself, and then people come to talk to me. This white woman came to speak to me. Hi, are you by yourself? Yeah, I'm by myself. We start talking, and then she says, "Oh, where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Zimbabwe." She goes, she was Zimbabwe. She was Zimbabwean as well, But she said, "Oh, you know what? I'm Rhodesian." I'm like, "No, you're not." She was born in the 80s. I'm like, "No, you're not." Right?
She was born in the 80s.
She was born in the 80s. Yeah.
And she said she's Rhodesian.
Yeah, I said, "No, you're not." Right?
I can understand.
No. We went and sat at the table with her friends, with this group of guys, whatever she was with. Because I was by myself, I just joined them, right? I just couldn't imagine, like, why would you call yourself like Rhodesian? Okay, and then I met that lady when we did that. We were part of her, like an how can you call it? There's the thing that we were part of, and then we met an older lady. She came in the 70s.
Which one is this?
We need new stories.
We need new stories. The YouTube.
We were part of a story of an archive thing, right? There was this lady, Zimbabwean lady. She came here in the 70s, and she says she doesn't feel she's Zimbabwean because when she never lived in Zimbabwe. She came to, it was Rhodesia. She's a black woman though now. This was now a black woman saying that.
But you know what, Laurie? Can I stop you there? Can I stop you guys there?
Yeah.
I am finding, I don't know if you guys find this, but I am finding you see what happened with me. I came over and then I went back to Zimbabwe and got married. So the people that I came over with stayed. They didn't have a gap. So we're talking like they've been kicking it here 20, 30 years. Yeah. And I'm finding that majority, save of maybe 3, say out of 10 families, 3 of them are still Zimbabweans. In the sense that, like what we were talking about the other day, Nyari, you know, you can come over, and if it means we put mattresses on the floor, we're doing that. If it means that we are having a sa and muriwo and we're having a braai, we're kicking it. The kids are also like brothers and sisters with their kids. But then the other like 70% are very, very British. And I just find it so weird. You know, even their mannerisms that, oh, look, we were just talking about it now to say that you can't speak in Ndebele with an Irish accent. You know, I understand. You've got to also.
Should be funny though.
Yeah,
I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it.
You know, I'm up for it. I'll try it for you. But they are so British that they almost do not have a trace of Zimbabwean in them. And I also find that a bit of a cop-out, in a sense.
Yeah.
You are who you are. You're always going to be in Nyaradzai from Zimbabwe. And your heritage is always going to be in Masvingo. You know, that is not going to go away. But these are almost as though they are English. There's no Masvingo, there's no Zimbabwe. That is a bit, I don't know.
Yeah. You remember when you went to your cousin's, is it christening? They were, you know, with this course thing.
COS.
This COS. This COS, people coming here, right? So there's a lady who had their kids here, you remember? And she was speaking to, she said, she'd been a few months, but
they'd only been about 3 or 4 months.
And she was speaking to her kids in English. I said, did you ask?
I did. I said, don't speak to them in English because, you know, like they've only just come, because obviously from experience and knowing like your nieces and nephews were born here, some of them moved here, how they really yearn to learn how to speak English and Shona. And I was saying to her, you know, when you're at home, maybe just speak to them in Shona, you know, and then they'll speak English at school, blah blah blah. And then what did she say? You finished the story.
She said, no, they don't want to.
Why?
They don't want. The kids don't want. You know what? It's that thing that they think they're fitting in.
Yeah.
I feel that, or I think it's an insecure. For me, I look at it as an they feel inferior, I guess, as in like, oh, if I speak English with an accent, if I'm like these other kids, I am more British, right? But from what I know is, in a few years' time, some of these kids will yearn to speak their native language, and also
but even at home,
someone is going.
Come on.
And then someone is going to remind them they're not from around here. Look what's happening now.
Look what's happening now with the riots.
You know what I mean?
This is where I wanted to go. That's where I wanted to go. That's where I was heading. That's what I wanted to do. That's where I wanted to touch. To say that even when all of these things are happening, people mustn't be surprised, because it's they are creating the monster, in my opinion, by doing that.
Yeah. Because I remember one time I was in Bournemouth, I met this white guy. He looked at me. I was talking to him. I was right. Then he said, "Where are you from?" Usually, I don't like that question, because the follow up is usually something dumb. So I said, "Oh, I'm from Farnborough." I said, "From Farnborough, right, where I was living." He said, "No. Which country are you from?" And then I said, "Oh, I'm from Zimbabwe." This old white guy. I said, "Oh, I'm from Zimbabwe." You know, he started speaking to me in Shona, right?
But then I said to Lawrence, because he told me the story when we met, and I said, "But do you remember the white people in Zim? They never spoke Ndebele. They never spoke Shona."
You saying white people? What about the colored people that looked black, would never speak in Ndebele? My cousins, and they're darker than me. Yeah, I'm not white, but they black, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong. My black granny, they never wanted her over at their house. And one day, this guy was chatting me up, and I don't know what he thought I was when he saw me. I don't know what he thought I was, but to me, he was from. Where was he from? He was from out of town, from Harare or Gweru or somewhere. And I was about 22, 23. I was working, but I was still living at home. And my granny, she used to always like to sit outside, like on the veranda, but on the floor. Yeah. So every time when we came in through the front door, she'd be sitting on the floor and you'd be like, hey, Gogo, what's up? You know, and we'd talk stories and we'd laugh. And she was really cool, my granny. Yeah. So he came in and I think I was in the kitchen. And he came in and she was very kind, my granny. She was like, oh, hello, my boy. You know, how are you? But she speaks broken English, isn't? Because she's in Ndebele. She doesn't really know how to speak English. And he just gave her a look. And he was like, is Collette here? Oh, okay. So I was like, hey, hi, how are you? I said, meet my granny, Gogo. This is my friend. I forgot his name. The guy went pale in his face. He was like, is this your granny? He said, you're half black. So I said, yeah, this is my mom's mother. He was like, oh no, I can't do this. I'm sorry, I can't do this. And he walked out.
Oh my God.
But thank God he did that.
Look at the racism back then. You guys really lived through it, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. And even like the colored people. But you know what, you guys, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but the truth is just the truth. You know what I mean? The ones that were dark skinned compared to us and went to government schools, they were the worst. They treated their grandmothers absolutely horribly. They were nasty. That was their grandmother that they'd be talking to like that. And it was just something that, that's what you do. It's Gogo, you know. Who is she? It's your grandmother, boss.
Yeah.
You don't speak to her like that.
No, for how I see it is mixed people. The problem that they have, okay, it is due to white people.
Rhodesia.
You know what I mean, right?
It's Rhodesia.
Yeah. No,
It's
even
the UK.
But here. But the mixed
even
people here.
just in Europe or whatever.
But
right?
I think what's worse for the mixed people here is that compared to you guys, I know you also had your own issues and stuff like that, like what you've just mentioned. But what's worse for them is they don't connect with black people and they don't connect with white people. You know, like what we were saying in our conversation before, Collie, that, you know, like you and I, come on now, you know, we connect, yeah? But me connecting with a mixed person here, myself, yo.
You've never done
you know
it.
what?
Hey?
I have.
Yeah, but it's how many?
And is it just automatic?
I connect better with white people than I do with mixed race people.
There you
They
go.
don't want to connect. They do not want to connect.
Really?
They don't want to connect with black people.
They don't.
Okay.
Especially, I noticed women, Yari. I don't know.
There's one of, I'm not saying all of them.
Yeah,
you know, there's
yeah,
one
yeah.
or two. I know you've got like your friend Glenn, who's like amazing and stuff, you know, but I don't have a mixed race friend. In my 20 years here, and I was telling you that story at work.
That was so funny. And your eyes so funny.
I won't say it on the podcast. We'll be here for an hour. But but you know, you walk in, you're like, I'm the only black person at work, and then you see a colored person, you're like, two of us.
Hello.
Sorry, a mixed race person, 2 of us.
Yeah, hey.
Hello, and then they ignore you. You're like, okay. You know.
And it's almost as if to say, listen, don't be aligned to me. Why are you doing that? They get offended.
Yeah.
But, you know, one thing I did realize is as migrants, we tended to mix with other migrants easily, black or white, right? You know, like when you meet, or Asian, it didn't matter. You meet someone like, I don't know, Polish, Czech Republic, whatever. If you meet them at work...
Anyone who's not English.
Anyone who's not British,
or
you could easily get along with. Easily get along with.
An Italian,
it didn't matter.
a Greek person, Polish, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to connect with them than it is with the British.
Because maybe you have the same sort of struggle.
Yeah, I think there is that. There is like, you know, everyone knows about the Home Office. Everyone knows.
And the
knows
colonization as well. I mean, most of them, like, especially the Indians, you know, they were also, like how we were colonized. They were colonized as well. And I think you have that common ground, almost.
There is a commonality in our stories, in our experiences.
Yeah.
There is that, but it's just something that I easily noticed that I've got a friend of mine at work. Like we know about the home. Like I said, we know about the Home Office. She used to work for an immigration lawyer. She knows she's not a lawyer herself, but we spoke about these things, and.
It kind of reminds me of our friends that are married, that got married recently. One is black from Africa, and one is white, white British. But he didn't understand that marrying his wife doesn't automatically mean she can become British. And like the confusion that he had, he was like, but. She's married to me. This white privilege business. She's married to me, so she should be able to get like her papers, and she should be able to
and he genuinely
be able to
that
do
way.
this, and she should be able. And now he's like, he feels, I wouldn't say stuck as such, but he just thought it was going to be a simple process. And obviously she explained even before, like, this is the situation, blah blah blah, but he just thought, we'll get married and we'll be all sorted. So now he's starting to see the actual realities of Home Office and what we have to go through as immigrants or as foreigners, But before that, he had no clue that this is what we do and this is how much money
this is
we
our
pay
life
for these things.
Welcome to our world.
There's a last week I saw a video of a guy in Argentina. Okay, he's been living in Argentina. He's been with this woman for a long time, so he wants to come to Britain with his wife to visit for a couple of weeks, so that he lives right.
So the wife is British.
No, the wife is Argentinian.
Okay, they both are.
Right. So I think they're in Colombia, something like that. Right. So he applied for a visa. And they had to pay money, £150 for the application. And then when they did that, they had to pay another 150 for something. And then they had to pay, the application was £350, okay, just to, right. And then they were told, the photos you took are not the correct ones, right? We prefer these photos taken by only this one agency that you have to go to. And you have to make a new application. And then... Right, and then he was also told that I think you haven't proven that she is your relationship, not relationship, like how close she is to your parents.
What?
So he did a second application. They're like, okay, so this was the problem, so I'm gonna solve this problem. They said no, again twice. So he made a video saying like people in Britain, they don't realize how privileged they are, as in, do you know how you travel easily? I'm gonna go to Thailand. Just turn up. Just turn up. Here's my passport. British passport, right?
It honestly is
almost
a privilege.
Any country.
Yeah.
And that's why Mugabe was like, you know what? I'm going to charge you 50 quid to enter my country. Or $50 US.
Do you know what, Nyadi?
Because he was like, why? You're charging us all this money. We're going to charge you.
You know what? For all that he did, and he did a lot, but that man, if it wasn't for that man, I don't think we would have been as educated as we are. We've got that man to thank for putting us on the map. Yes, he did a lot. Yeah, we're not going to put that aside. Yeah. But he also did his share.
But anyway.
I don't think so. But anyway, now we're talking politics.
But anyway, so by the way, so in your case, have you had any issues where you are because of being mixed as such?
You know what? I find the Irish also have their own story with like the UK. They are so broken by how the UK treated them and the effects of it. It's like the effects of apartheid in South Africa. I find like with the colored race in South Africa, they are very uneducated and like don't know how to speak proper English and only speak Afrikaans and feel like they better off because they're still a bit backward. I find the Irish also, because of how the British treated them, they are also like not as privileged. as the British.
Yeah, because isn't you see, like you look
Yeah.
in history, they used to have signs saying no Irish,
No
black,
dogs, no Irish,
no dogs, no
no
Irish,
blacks.
no blacks.
Yeah.
So we are all in the same thing. But
I remember once when I wrote a blog at work about diversity and stuff, and kind of touched a little bit on colonization and stuff. And my boss, my line managers, yeah, that and he commented separately, and he just said, "Yeah, imagine being Irish," because he was Irish, and he was like,
We were better than them.
I lived it. He's retired now, so you can imagine he lived it.
Yeah.
He lived that era.
yeah,
And even by
yeah,
us,
so he was just telling me his stories. I was like, wow.
it's madness because we don't have a hard border per se. But there is like the remnants of the border that was there. And even when you
Yeah.
look at it, you just think to yourself, why would you do? And even like the houses, some houses have little windows because they had to pay for a big window. They had to like pay the
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for the big window.
for
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember the story. Yeah, the size of your window. Yeah.
The Irish really.
Do you know what? Do you know
suffered.
what it's reminding me of? They also put that thing about the size of your house.
The bedroom tax. Yeah.
bedroom tax.
What?
That's,
Really?
ago.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
a bedroom tax that
If you
came
spare
quite
bedroom,
recently,
something like
actually.
that, yeah.
Or maybe about
I
10
don't,
years
I don't
ago.
quite,
or
I
something.
don't quite understand it.
If you live alone and you've got an extra bedroom,
Yeah.
they'll charge you bedroom tax. If you living in I think it's the council house.
I don't know. Yeah, but there was something.
There's something about it anyway. But yeah,
Yeah,
they brought
but
that in.
the thing about the window is wild. It will drive me mad.
Wild. So how big are the windows?
The ones that had to pay, that couldn't pay, their houses have tiny. It's almost like a breeze block. Do you know, like a breeze block in Zimbabwe?
Yo.
They suffer. You need to see it to appreciate like what I'm saying. And even when you speak to them, because I work sometimes across the border at the university across the border, and no disrespect to the university this side, it is very modern and it does have, but the English, you can see that they were privileged. Even just the seats and the
Yeah.
laptops and
Yeah.
they're way more advanced because they and even when we come down, like from Ireland, it's like, it's the Irish. There's still that sort of tension between them.
Do you know what? What you're saying is right. It's what happened with the North-South divide in the UK.
Yeah.
Whereby
They really
things
suffered.
are kind of nicer because when people come to London, they think the rest of the country is like London. All right, it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
You know.
Honestly,
That's
not.
the thing.
They'll be like, oh wow, so many buses, the tube. No.
No.
But the thing with London that I found was that it was that story I was telling you. To say that London, your eye can't see the end of the people, but there's not one familiar face that will put their head up and say, hey, hi, how are you doing? You know, It's a very, very lonely place, London.
London. Yeah.
Like if you don't have friends there, you have to be very lonely. You
No,
have to
it's-
be part of a group in a way.
And also, like, the English way, if you don't, like, if you come fresh off the ship from Zimbabwe, let's say, and you go and live in, and I'm talking, like, from experience, they
Yeah.
have a way of speaking, like an undertone, like sarcasm. If
Yeah.
you don't know it, you won't get it, but they'll be very sarcastic to you and they'll really be telling you off in their English way. You know?
And you know what? That's what I never liked, because someone is trying to be clever
Yes,
about maybe
cowardly.
insulting you as well, and you think, okay, is this an insult? Because in the end, you might
You
be laughing
can't
along
quite-
with something that's
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
Yes.
you say polite, you get polite,
Yes,
because you don't have to come back, right?
yes.
That's right. Yeah.
But that is
Because you don't
English thing.
and your comeback is probably like an African type of
Doesn't work.
which they
doesn't
probably
work.
wouldn't understand. So it's
It
like,
doesn't work.
how do I come back so that they understand?
But also that
Yeah.
way about them. I mean, we all got our cultures. We all got our ways that are not nice. That's one thing that I found very cowardly. You know, come out straight if you've got something to say. You know, don't come out in undertones and undercurrents. And no, that's one thing I found that I don't appreciate about the English.
one of the worst things is if you, because I think if you're in a group of people who are like, I can say not funny, they can be very funny, right? And then you can't contribute, but they're being funny in a British way.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
No, it's because I'm laughing because
Yes.
I get what you're saying.
Right?
Yes.
And these
They
people
have
are
that
talking and talking, and
banter.
you are just there. Maybe you're holding your drink there. Like, okay, I need to say something. I'm quiet here, right? But you can't chip in.
Because you're like, what am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to just
Yes.
laugh? But this
But
is
now-
not funny.
But now, like I'm saying to you, my friends that have been here for years and years, I'm finding that they are those people now. You know, we used to laugh about those people,
Yeah.
but they've become those people. Like they have
They
all
just become those people.
these jokes and these, and I'm like, okay, no. I can understand when you're with them if you do that, but at
Yeah.
home, I don't know.
At home, yeah. I think at home, it'd be so weird. You and me here, imagine.
Imagine you and Gary start doing that.
Have we not started?
No. Maybe you too.
No, but I mean, if you really think about it,
No.
there might be some things that we've said.
Yeah, maybe
we don't
one
realize.
or two. One
Yeah,
or two.
yeah.
But it won't
One
be
or
like
two.
the standard.
Because we've been here 20 years. Come on.
It
we
does
can't-
rub off. It
Yeah.
does.
What I know is the words I use. I tend to say trouble instead of problem. That's one thing I noticed. Like I think it's the words I use when I'm speaking, and I think I change my voice a little bit because I feel my accent is still the same, but there's a certain lady that my housemate, you should hear when she speaks to people at work. I'm like, who is this woman speaking in this house? Honestly.
No comment.
Honestly.
No comment.
She just changes. She changes so
No
much.
comment.
But we all do it, Laurie. Maybe you don't notice yourself doing it. We all do
He
it.
does.
Yeah.
To be fair, he does. He
Yeah.
does. But you're like, oh, you know, it might not be like super British. There's still a bit of Zimbabwean in you, but you do.
You
still
have to in order for them to understand you. I'm telling you, Laurie, you have
crazy.
to.
Yeah. But yeah, I know that. I think it's. I think there's some things that we've kind of embraced. I guess.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people find it strange that
Like you and pale and ale.
I was going to say I drink ale, like these bitter beers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because lager. You know what I mean?
Doesn't do it
But
for you.
that's
See
a
how
sin
British he is. I drink ales.
I drink
ales. He loves going to the pubs with his British friends.
Oh, I love the pub. The pub.
See?
The
See?
pub is a place to. You go there to watch people, right? I should go this weekend after the riots.
Anyway, you're not going anywhere.
Honestly, when you go to the pub, right? Oh, I wish I could show you videos of what I've seen. It's like when I look at one lady. She was so drunk. She's like, I'm the landlady. She's the landlady of the pub.
Oh
She's
my
like,
goodness.
I'm a head teacher. I'm begging. What school is this? And yeah, we meet all sorts of people. All sorts.
No, but in that
you
sort
know.
of an environment, I must say they are more like open, I think. But
Like
like
what?
I found they're more open in that sort of an environment when they start drinking.
Yeah, but the thing is, their openness, you can't be open. They can be open,
Hey, thank
but
you.
you can't.
Uh,
Because when you start being open, they'll be like, hey, did you hear what Nyari said at the thing? Yeah. And then it can even come against you as well at work.
You have to be so
This
careful.
This is a group, you have to be very careful what you
Yeah.
say.
Well, some of
especially if
us-
you go out with people from work.
Some of us we have tact. Okay, what you learn, you get to be tactful. As in,
No.
like,
It's not even about like, someone might ask you, oh, so do you think such and such is such and such? Like just normal office banter. And then can be taken out of context, like because Nyari said it. But if it was Ashley from around the way,
Wow.
it's just banter.
You absolutely nailed it. You have to be so on guard. You absolutely nailed it. I actually don't like going for work drinks because of that.
yeah.
because I can't
Yeah.
be free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they can.
Oh, so
You know,
free.
they can snog each other and do all sorts.
Oh,
But is that also not a white privilege? In a way?
It is.
Yeah. It honestly is.
for me, one of the worst things I did, I went to is going to a British People's Party. British and the Caucasians, white people's, their parties. So one of the most boring things I've ever been to.
Really?
Didn't we go
Why?
like a month, 3 weeks ago to a 40th birthday party?
Oh, we went to one.
And how are they? Do
And-
they dance? Or?
Where we come from,
Sorry.
we like good food. Yeah.
Yeah.
What we go to, we like quiche. I hate quiche.
Cold quiche.
Cold quiche. Those mini sausages that are cold. Like everything.
Everything was cold.
Everything was even just that. I think it's for me. It's the conversation because people talk about university a lot or their work. I'm thinking you left university 20 years ago. Why are you talking about
And you're
uni?
at a
That's one thing
party.
that bothers me. Yeah, but then fair enough. I've met people Zimbabweans who still talk about. Oh yeah, I was at Prince Edward School. Like, bruh, that was in the 90s. Why are you still talking about school in the 90s? You know, I guess I don't know. But I think it's a thing that. Yeah, some tact when you talk to British people.
It's very,
Yeah.
you know what? I think my take on it is a very fine line between still remaining true to yourself, like to your origins, and also like getting into the community because you can't be an island. I mean, if you're living in the UK, you need to also get into the community and be with them. There's a very fine line as to still keeping Nyari from Masvingo. You know, I think that's so important, especially if you have children. You need to know where you're from. It's about identity. You
Yeah.
need to.
Yeah, because like we say, otherwise someone else will remind them in a not so nice way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. You know, like also what I found about, and I'm generalizing here. Please, you know, this is my opinion. Yeah. I found that I was telling Yari that story about that. This is the story of this guy. Now you must understand, when we used to come to England, when I used to come with my parents, my father used to run buses and my grandfather used to run buses. So they used to get all of their spare parts from the UK, right?
Okay.
So we were always up and down, but that is in a business capacity. So you're giving people money, so they're going to be nice to you, isn't it? But now when you come in over to work and you don't have that backing of your parents' house and the maid to do your washing and to do your ironing, it is a really big culture shock, you know. And I was explaining to Nyari, is that our community, as messed up as we are, when I say as messed up as we are such a mix. You know, like I'm saying, we've got UK, we've got Scottish, we've got Irish.
Yeah.
It's a mix, yeah. And sometimes that mix, it really doesn't go down. You know, colored people in general are very volatile people. But if I step into a place and I'm a colored woman and somebody steps up to me and they want to give me a problem, there's no ways if there's a colored man there that he's going to let that happen. You know, so we've got that community, you know, that camaraderie. And even if you see another colored, you will, even if you don't know them, you'll smile and you'll greet because they're colored.
Do you know what? I can kind of get that because living in Chitungweza, we used to pass through Arcadia, sunning down in Arcadia, you know, to go into town. And then when I went to Prince Edward School, there were a lot of guys I went to school with who were mixed, right? And they somehow, I don't know if maybe it was by accident, there's, you know, these houses in schools where I was in a house called Moffat.
Yes.
Right? And that one was full of mixed people for some reason, right? And we always want basketball, right?
Basketball and soccer.
Right? And if ever there was some sort of fight, you find that like the mixed people, they'll always clap together. For me, I think because of colonialism created this separation that because Belvedere was for mainly Asians, isn't it? Belvedere was mainly for Asians.
it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They used to separate. There's a place for a few Greeks. I forgot the name of the area in Harare, right? So they used to separate.
Hellenic, no?
Hellenics, yeah. Some Greeks there. So they used to separate according to even if you are, say, Asian, you are here, whatever. So this separation, and you find that there are some people. It's okay to protect your community, which is fine, okay. And then there are some people who came over here with that mindset of a separation, because we used to play football in a place called Walking. I used to play football here, Sunday football, Sunday league. Not
Nice.
Sunday league, just rubbish stuff. There was a team in a place called Walking that said, what they said is, we are a team of Ndebeles only. I'm like, okay, you leave Zimbabwe or there to come over here and create your own subdivision to say, we are the Ndebeles. This is a football for Ndebeles here. You guys go over there.
Okay.
I found that so bizarre.
No.
I found that so bizarre.
But you know what, Laurie?
Right.
That's human nature, though. I think all us, as with the colonialism, we were also put into categories. You had people that are like me, that look like this here, like me, like this. I've got what you call cruce when my hair is, and I've got big bums, yeah. But I'm light skinned and my eyes are light, so I'm classed as a Bienbeek. That is a South
what?
A Bienbeek, because I've got black blood.
Bienbeek.
Yeah, and I speak in Ndebele and I've got cruce. Now you get another colored who's same skin color like me, but she's got straight hair. So the hair is the test. She will be called a Mapusuman. And because she's got straight hair and she's more like to the white, she in the colonial days would have more perks per se.
Oh, that's what they did in Asia. That's what they did in Asia, isn't it?
Yes.
Or even America. What are you on about? There was the house mixed person. There was the field person. There was the
But then you see, America, Nyari, the way they did it was that if you look like me, whether you had cruce or whether you had what, as long as you were light skinned, you were allowed to work in the house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas with us in Zimbabwe, the way the British did it was that some people that were light skinned even applied to be white. They were allowed to apply to be white so that they could get more privileges. Yeah. So you find even nowadays, like the Mapusuman.
So they had. Did you watch my YouTube video on apartheid?
I haven't watched that one yet.
The apartheid one. I think you commented.
Oh yes, the apartheid one. Yeah, thank you. Perfect.
Because they had the
test.
reclassification.
Yeah.
They had the test, and then they also had the reclassification of, and then they said about 50 colored people turned white.
There you go. There you go.
Wow.
And you know what? Those colored people that turned white, 90% of them, well, in Zimbabwe anyway, married white men. So then their children were also now looked white. So we used to call them play whites. They played white, but they had black ancestry, like the grannies and everything were black. But that was also colonialism.
But if you look at race, right? If you look at if you go back to 1600s, there was no race issue.
There you go.
Black people were black people, white people were white people. We lived in unison. Yes, there was wars and stuff, but there was no sort of we are greater than you, etc.
Yes, there was no
Up until
hierarchy.
a certain point when some guy decided, you know what, we could get some black people and then now we can classify them as less than, and all this and all that, just to get that superiority. And it all started with the British, really.
And
They're the ones that started
British
it. They're the ones that
colonized so many
started.
places.
They're the ones that started
Right.
race.
And
You
it's
see?
a tiny country.
There you go.
It's a spirit in them, I guess.
It's because
such
they
a
had
tiny-
guns as well.
But they're not the only ones with guns. The Spanish had guns,
Yeah, but they
Germans-
also tried to colonize.
but not as
Yeah,
not as,
they
not
did.
as well not as well as the British.
Yeah.
Not as well as the British. Britain is a smaller country than Zimbabwe. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Area-wise, a smaller country than Zimbabwe.
And they obviously had less people back then as well.
But then
Less
yes,
Well,
but
they're
then we
going
people in the
over.
army.
go back to these riots, and the mind, they came in with this playing on the people's minds to Shaka Zulu and them. They came in and they said to them, listen, we'll give you sugar and we'll give you this and we'll give you that and we'll give you this. Meanwhile, Shaka Zulu and them were sitting on gold mines, literally sitting on gold mines. They had land for days. They had people for days. But
Imagine
that mindset, it's mindset.
Yeah, just imagine like having a gardener that you used to pay very little, someone who cooks for you, someone who raises your kids. This is why, if there was in Farnham, there's a restaurant, it's Farnham in Surrey. Surrey, one of those fancy places, there was a restaurant called Sadza, right? It was opened by this Zimbabwean black woman who was married to a white British guy. And the first time I was there, I went to talk to her and said, hey, who comes here? She's like, you should come here on a Friday evening. Friday weekend, it was always packed because of the white British people and the South Africans and some other ones who had grown up in African countries, right?
Go.
Because they grew up being looked after by these black women or whatever, right?
Eating sadza.
They're eating sadza, all of that. So they grew up on that. So now, like, oh, there's a restaurant, I can go there and eat the food. I never expected it. It's one of those places where you don't expect a restaurant. It was called Sadza Restaurant.
Do you know what, Laurie? It's just that you guys, you've never really been in the hood, like in BG or in Trinans, you get them that will tell you the colors, that will tell cruz dark, and they'll tell you, no, I don't speak Ndebele, and I can't cook sadza. And it's like it's a privilege, and you just look and you think to yourself, that is such a colonial mindset. But I find Bulawayo is really bad like that, eh?
But then you come here where they lump us all into one. Like they say you're all black.
No, she's other.
No, but generally, you'll be classified as black. Yeah. Generally, until you say maybe I'm mixed, but the assumption is always
black. Me, I don't mind it. I don't see any.
Yeah, but I'm just saying as in, but we get lumped into it until some people are bothered by it, and they'll say, "But I'm not black. I'm mixed." And then they had to create that box. When we first came, that box wasn't there.
But you know what?
It was black British.
It's like the gender one as well.
But can I stop you there? My black granny, right? My brother was naughty. When I say naughty, the guy was naughty. So when we used to go to her Kumusha, to her home, to Ekaya, for school holidays, we used to mix with our other black cousins, right? He was the leader of the pack. He was the naughtiest person. But she would never, ever hit him. She'd complain to my mother to say, this child is so naughty, he's done like this, he's done like that. My mom would say, but why don't you give him ID? She'd say, hey, no, I can't hit him, man. Because when I hit him, he's light-skinned, my brother, not like he's like white. She says, hey, when I hit him, man, he turns all sorts of colors, man. He gets red and he gets blue. So it's also... no disrespect, but us as black people, we also oppress ourselves. I think it's because we've been brainwashed with that narrative.
That's an issue as well.
Yeah, I know Trevor Noah spoke about that he never used to get beat because of the same issue that you just said.
Was he also like that?
He was light. Yeah, because his grandma never beat him because he was light skinned. Because she was like, when she hit him once, she was like, it would show. So she was like, hey,
maybe they were scared.
Like he's dying.
He's dying.
You know what? It reminds me. I used to work at a nursing home in those early days. That's what you do when you came here. There was a guy who used to squeeze your hand so much. Okay, so there were some Filipinos, and then there was us who were working there as carers. So this guy, he's like, oh no, can you take Frank? Like, because he's squeezing me. Look, I'm bruised. I was like, well, I bruised too. It just doesn't show. You know what I mean? Because they're like, oh, look at my bruises. It used to annoy me so much. Like, it hurts me as well.
You know when they say pregnant black women don't feel pain, like pregnant black women, like when they give birth. Back in the day, and they never used to give like painkillers or whatever you call it. it's just what you've just said made me think that people will look at us or beat us up or whatever and say, oh, they don't feel pain because we don't bruise.
A black person's anatomy, they are naturally stronger. If you look at a black person's teeth, if you look at a black person's skin, especially look at a white person when they get old, and look at like my granny when she's old. She hardly has any wrinkles. Her skin is all right. Her teeth are still white. Look at these white women.
What we should do is we should have another conversation.
Another conversation.
Because right now we've gone for 1 hour something minutes. Okay, so I'll just close the show now. Okay, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for being here, Collette.
Collette
Pleasure,
Andrews.
guys. It was so nice having this conversation. You know, we're going on an hour 19 minutes.
Yeah. Do you know, I think it's the thing, right? We'll do it again. We'll have another conversation, then in the future. And so, everybody, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for listening.
Please share the podcast.
Yeah.
Please share. Tell others. Rate the show on. I think now we can leave comments on Spotify.
Yeah.
And on Apple and everywhere else. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Nice one, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.